Hello crocheters! Today I'm going to show you how to make what I'm calling the mini starburst square. Now I've seen this pattern in a lot of different places online. I've seen it called a sunburst granny square, I've seen it called a starburst granny square, I've seen it called a sunburst sunflower, but whatever you want to call it, this is my variation on the sunburst or starburst crochet square, and this is going to be a mini version, and I also make a minor tweak to one of the rounds. It's very similar to the more traditional sunburst or starburst square, but this version is one round smaller. This square can be made in solid colors like shown here. You could choose to change color each individual round, or like these other ones here, you can use a magic yarn ball or a variegated yarn or self-striping yarn to make some really funky little squares where the colors change randomly. That's a lot of fun too. But whatever you decide, this is a great little square to assemble into larger projects like blankets or whatever else you can think of. The yarn I'm using is Caron Simply Soft, and I'm going to use a 5mm crochet hook. Of course, you can use whatever yarn you want, just use a corresponding crochet hook, and keep in mind that your square might end up a little bigger or a little smaller depending on what yarn you use. This pattern is worked in the round, and I'm going to start by making a slip knot and then working some chains to make a ring. While you could try using a magic circle, I don't know that this project would be a good fit for it, simply because we don't want to cinch the center all the way down, because then our squares might not lay flat, and we want to have kind of an open center to our project. So once I have a slip knot on my hook, I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to go back to my very first chain, and I'm going to slip stitch into the chain. And that's going to make a nice kind of open ring that I can work into. Now for round 1, we're going to work 16 double crochets into the ring. You can start with a turning chain and then work 16 double crochets, or like I'm going to show here, you can make your first double crochet be an alternative turning chain. To work that, we insert our hook into the ring, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So we'll have 2 loops on our hook, then yarn over and pull through 2. So far, it's very similar to a single crochet. Then to finish working it, we're going to look for that left vertical strand that we just pulled up. We're going to insert underneath that from right to left, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And what we just did is called an alternative turning chain. It's kind of like 2 single crochets stacked on top of each other. And what this stitch does is it takes the place of the turning chain and counts as our first double crochet. So that's our first double crochet, and I'm going to work double crochet until I have a total of 16. So this is going to count as my second double crochet. This is my third double crochet worked into the ring. Now we've got this tail here. I like to work around the tail, so when I insert for my 4th stitch, I'm just going to loop this over my hook and kind of hold it with the ring, and then finish up my 4th double crochet by yarning over, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and work around that tail. So I've got 4 stitches so far. I'm going to keep double crocheting until I have a total of 16 stitches. So this is going to be my 14th double crochet, double crochet number 15, and double crochet number 16 into the ring, which is my final stitch for round 1. So then to finish up the round, I'm going to slip stitch in the top of my first stitch of the round. And if you're not sure where the top of that alternative turning chain, just count backwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So this loop right here, I'm going to go under the top of that, yarn over, and pull through everything to slip stitch and join the round. And I like to pull that kind of nice and snug. So now for round 2, this is the part where we're going to create the petals. Now we are going to need a turning chain, so I'm going to work a turning chain of 2. So chain 1 and chain 2. So now we're going to work some puff stitches all the way around, and this is the first spot where I make my own little tweak on the pattern, and I'm going to work a puff stitch that's a little bit smaller. Some people will do 3 yarn overs, but I prefer doing only 2 because I think it gives me better definition of each petal and it doesn't use as much yarn. So to work a puff stitch, I'm going to start by yarning over on my hook, then I'm going to insert in the same stitch where we joined the round, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And when I pull up this loop, I want to pull it to be the same height as my chain 2 turning chain. So right now I've got 3 loops on my hook, then I'm going to yarn over again, insert into the same spot where we joined, yarn over, pull up a loop, and again pull it as tall as all the other loops on my hook, which is the height of the turning chain. So at this point I will have 5 loops on my hook, and to finish off this first puff stitch, I will yarn over and pull through all 5 loops on my hook. So that's my first puff stitch. Then I'm going to chain 1 and work a puff stitch in the next spot. So we start by yarning over, insert into our next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop and pull it tall so it's the same height as the previous puff stitch, yarn over again, insert into the same spot, yarn over, pull up a loop and again pull up to the same height. You'll have 5 loops on your hook at this stage, and then we'll yarn over and pull through everything. And then chain 1. One more time on that puff stitch. Yarn over, insert and pull up a loop, but pull it nice and tall. Yarn over, insert in the same spot, pull up a loop, and pull it nice and tall. Yarn over and pull through all 5 stitches to complete the puff stitch, and then chain 1. So I'm going to work this all the way around. It's a repeating pattern of puff stitch, chain 1, and we're going to repeat that a total of 16 times. So we're going to work 1 puff stitch in every single stitch from round 1. That will create our 16 petals, and make sure you chain 1 in between each of them. So I'm going to work this around, and I'll meet you back at the end of the round. Alright, so I just worked my 16th and final puff stitch here, and then I chained 1, so the last thing I need to do is go to the top of my very first puff stitch right here and work a slip stitch to join the round. So here's what we've got so far, the center, and then those petals that give a lot of nice pretty texture. And now for round 3, our final round, we're going to turn the circle into a square. So round 3, we're going to work in the chain spaces between the puff stitches. So I first need a slip stitch over to that spot. So insert through that space, yarn over and pull through everything to basically move my yarn over to that spot. And now we're going to create the very first corner of our square, and we're going to start with 2 treble crochets. Now you're more than welcome to do a chain 3 turning chain and then work 2 treble crochets, but I'm going to use the alternative turning chain and just make it a little taller so it's the height of a treble crochet. So to do that, I will start by inserting my hook through the chain 1 space, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and then pull through 2. Then I'm going to find this left vertical strand of what we just worked and insert underneath that from right to left with my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So far that's exactly what we did for round 1, but since I need it to be a little taller for a treble crochet, I'm going to repeat that second portion one more time. So find this left vertical strand that we just created, insert my hook underneath that strand from right to left, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So this time it's basically like we stacked 3 single crochets instead of stacking just 2. And what we just did, that's an alternative turning chain. It takes the place of our turning chain, and this time it counts as our first treble crochet. So now to finish up the corner, we need to work a second treble crochet. So I'm going to yarn over twice, insert into the same chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's going to be kind of the right side. Now we need to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. That's going to create the point of the corner for our square shape. And we're going to put 2 more treble crochets into this chain spot. So yarn over twice, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then a second treble here in the same spot. So this is our first corner. It's 2 trebles, chain 3, 2 trebles. Then we're going to go to our next chain 1 space, so the space between the next 2 puff stitches. And in that spot, I'm going to work 2 double crochet. So this is my first double crochet and a second double crochet into the same spot. Then between the next 2 puff stitches and that chain space, I'm going to work 2 half double crochets. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then a second one. So this is my second half double crochet. Then in between the next 2 puff stitches, I'm going to work 2 double crochet. So this is my first double crochet in that spot, and my second double crochet in the same space. And then now we're at the next corner. So in the corner, we're going to work 2 treble crochets, chain 3, 2 treble crochets. So this is my first treble crochet worked into this chain space. And this is my second treble worked into that chain space. Once I work my first 2 trebles, I'm going to chain 1, 2, and 3, and then put 2 more trebles into the same space. So 1 and 2. And then we're going to work down the next side. So we're going to work 2 double crochet in the next chain space. So this is 1. This is 2. Then in the following chain space, 2 half double crochets. So 1 and 2. Then 2 double crochets in the following chain space. My first double crochet and my second double crochet. And now we're at the next corner where we're going to work 2 trebles, chain 3, 2 trebles. So this is my first treble, my second treble into the same chain space. Then I'll chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then 2 more trebles into the same spot to create the corner. That's 1, and this is 2. And then to work on the side, it's going to be 2 double crochet, 2 half double crochet, 2 double crochet, and then work 2 trebles, chain 3, 2 trebles for the following corner. So I'm going to work this pattern over the way around, and then I'll show you when I join. So I've nearly finished working round 3. I just worked my last pair of double crochets. The last thing I need to do is slip stitch in the top of my first stitch to join the round. And then once you join, you can fasten off because your square will be complete. And so just to clarify with round 3, basically we work the corner every 4th chain space. So we worked the corner here, then we did double crochets, half double crochets, and double crochets. And then in this 4th spot, a corner. So 1, 2, 3, corner space, 1, 2, 3, corner space. So that's kind of how you know where to work the corners. And then on the sides in between, we do 2 double crochet, 2 half double crochet, and 2 double crochet. And that's all there is to creating this really beautiful square. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and be sure to come back because I'm going to be assembling some projects out of these other squares that I've made. They're great for making little bags, or you could assemble them into a vest or a top, whatever you want to make. They're just a really fun and beautiful design. If you did enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you would like this video and also subscribe to my channel for more crochet and crafting content. But thanks so much for watching, and happy crafting!